They see this as, what if we're trying to develop you? We're trying to tell you what needs to happen, and you won't do it. You keep doing it a different way, because that does apply to JK. And that's just, that's an unfortunate truth, whether people want to hear that or not. He plays a different way sometimes than how they've asked him to play. And maybe Steve Kerr, while he can't say it in these words, maybe this is what he's getting at. At the same time, basically, I could say, the Warriors development program, is it perfect? Maybe not. Is that Steve Kerr's fault? My opinion, no. No, because I don't think that's his job. And so this is furthering the conversation, in my opinion, in such a way. Whenever we talk about Jonathan Kuminga, everybody's pointing at Steve Kerr. And if the word is potential or development or whatever, again, my argument is that's not his job. Now, if you want to argue it a different way, Steve's a jerk because he won't give him minutes, and I think he should get minutes. That's a little bit of a different spin. If what you're saying is Jonathan playing 100% gives the Warriors their best chance to win tonight, I don't care about next year, which a lot of people seem to care about, and I know Jonathan does. For years now, he's cared about next year because next year to him always holds a lot of dollars around it. But if your point is Steve's a dunderhead because he won't play that young guy, whoever it is, Jonathan or anyone else, and that young guy is clearly who gives the Warriors the best chance to win tonight's game, that's a different conversation. I don't hear a lot of people saying that. I don't think that's a thing. And I think that that's what Steve's job is. And I think that's what he's saying here. Take a listen.
I just think it's really important to collaborate with your staff and to encourage the young coaches to really bring a lot of ideas to the table. I really lean on my younger coaches. One of the ways the league is so different now is that we're now a developmental league. You know, when you came into the league, when I was in the league, we were already developed. You played for Coach K for 4 years. I played for Lute Olson for 4 years. We were ready. And the other part that was different was the schedule was different. So we'd have like 3 games in 4 nights. Then you'd have 4 days off. So you'd have 2 great practices. Now, the schedule is basically you play every other day all year long. We don't practice anymore. So we have to develop these 19-year-old kids who are coming into the league without much practice time. That has meant an entirely revamped kind of development program. And frankly, I'm not great with it. Like, I'm an older coach. I'm a disciple of Phil and Pop. And so I lean on the young guys to really install great development drills, decision-making stuff, things that I never did or knew how to teach. But the key is to figure that out and let the people who can do those things, let them do it and empower them. And I think that's how you progress.
I mean, I don't know how you, even if you don't like what's going on, I don't know how you can't like that comment. Like he's I'm not very good at it. That's not right now what I'm here to do.
Well, that's what the fans are telling you. He's not really good at that.
Yeah, but that's not his job.
Right.
They're supposed to have other people who are good at that, and he's trying to empower them.
Well, honestly, every coaching job and coaching staff has different responsibilities. If you go to Washington, for example, and you've got a younger team, your job as a coaching staff is not to grind for every single victory that you possibly can. Your job is to develop the young people, get your young players better, develop a core, and work toward the future. And that's not where Steve Kerr is with the Warriors.
And by the way, in many of those cases, you're helped by losing games. So you're incentivized to, quote, develop. Let's hear from some of you on this. Chris in Sonoma. Hi, Chris. Thanks for calling.
So this whole development thing, NBA staffs, look how many coaches are on the Warriors staff. The job of the head coach is to delineate each coach's role. They got a lot of young guys who work with the players. That's the way the NBA works. That's the way colleges work. That's the way kind of high schools are working if you got a good high school team. But the thing about Kuminga is, in order to, quote, develop within a system of play, number one, I think it's up to the player to understand the system of play, and then number two, to embrace his role, and then number three, to show a willingness to fit in. So the Warriors' style of play, we all know, is based on supreme player movement, supreme ball movement. The ball doesn't stop. cutting and screening, getting the best players, the best shot available. You got the best player in the world on your team. It doesn't mean that you don't move the ball and become a ball stopper and average 1 assist a game. It doesn't mean that you don't show a motor and maybe get 2 rebounds a game when you're probably the strongest young guy on the court. And, the guys that are showing a motor, Moody, one of the great quotes of all time, when he came into the NBA at age 19, I chose to develop in the NBA. Well, he is developing. Pajemski, he shows a motor. He takes charges. Sometimes he's out of control, but he shows that he cares. Guy Santos getting the most out of what he's got and earning the trust of his teammates. And then let's watch Quentin Post this year. I personally think big things are coming for that guy. So this whole thing with Kuminga not developing really irks me because the player has to show that he's willing to do what he's being asked to do. And I don't see that happening with him. That's a problem.
Helping young players develop isn't the job of the head coach. Isn't that the definition of coaching? How is that not his responsibility? Well, let me try to explain it. No, that's not the definition of coaching. It might be the definition of one of the coaches or 2 of the coaches. It's not the job of the head coach. And let me go to one of the other teams in the Bay Area to help try to explain at least how I see it. Is it Bob Melvin's job to develop? I mean, baseball teams have an entire minor league system.
Yeah.
And somebody is in front of that system who is called the head of player development. But Bob Melvin's job is, once you're developed, get your butt out into the field and let's win the game tonight. So is it the definition of coaching? Sure, on one level, but Steve Kerr's not the only coach on the team.
Right.
He's the head coach. And if you're asking me if development is a major part of the head coach, no, I do not believe that. I do not believe that at all.
Team.
Kyle Shanahan has a defensive line coach who develops those young defensive linemen. Kyle's job, game plan, win game, period.
Every coaching staff, every situation is different when it comes to development. And if you're the Warriors and you've got Steph and Draymond and now Jimmy Butler, 3 veterans who are near the end of their career, still fancying themselves in a championship window, your number one job is to put out the best team to win right now. The other piece of this that people fail to glom onto, and I think about Jordan Poole, development is a 2-way street.
Thank you.
Jordan Poole gets relegated to Santa Cruz. He goes down there. He busts his ass. He gets better. He earns his way back up, and the rest is history. He got the bag. He's on his 3rd team, whatever. But he's a real NBA player, and he will be for years to come because he got better. And development is a 2-way street.
And this is pro sports, which means yes, there are large staffs. They are multi-billion-dollar organizations, and they do have a responsibility as a group to develop their young players. But I don't see that by any stretch as something that makes the top 5 on the priority list of whoever's in charge. Whoever's in charge is, y'all let me know once you're fully ready to be one of the reasons we win the game tonight. And when you are, you're in. And until you are, you're not. And especially if you want to be one of these people who sort of bucks against how we're trying to develop you. And that, I think, for a lot of people, you may or may not sort of understand that I do think that is how the Warriors see this on a certain level. They see this as, what if we're trying to develop you, we're trying to tell you what needs to happen, and you won't do it. You keep doing it a different way. And I think that goes to the point you're making about a 2-way street, because that does apply to JK. And that's just, that's an unfortunate truth, whether people want to hear that or not. That is a truth that he plays a different way sometimes than how they've asked him to play.
And I think that was part of the end of the Jordan Poole story, because he started playing a certain way that wasn't fitting with what they were trying to do as well. Even though he averaged 20 a game that year, the way he went about it was not the way that some of the vets were enjoying and thriving in playing. And so I think that, as well as, the Draymond Green part of it, that was partly why he got shipped out.
Hi, Trev. What's up?
I think we've seen what Kuminga can do, and it is on Kuminga to take that next step. It's not all on the coach. If I'm a player and I want more playing time, I'm not going to wait for somebody to develop my talents. I'm going to do what that coach is asking me to do, or that organization's asking me to do, so that I can get more playing time and maybe get more attention. So I don't think what Kuminga's doing right now with negotiating, if I was Kuminga's agent, I'd be telling him to take that deal for $45 million for 2 years and play it out. Because I honestly think that's the best he's going to get. If he takes that $7 million deal where he's just going to, I know the Warriors can't trade him. It's a bad deal for the Warriors if he goes ahead and does that. But I think he's kind of, and he's kind of putting himself and the Warriors in a hard spot, because I don't see him being better than he is. So I don't know where everybody's coming in here and blaming the coach or saying he's not getting enough playing time. He's put himself in that position. He hasn't given himself the opportunity to get more playing time. I really don't think so. When a guy goes off and has a good game one every 4 games, and that's really what it is. If you watch the Warriors enough, you might see Kuminga go ahead and have a great game one every 4 or 5 games. That's just not enough to call yourself a player that's worth the kind of money he's asking for.
Yeah.
And he,
Yeah, and the other part of it is, and Trevor, that's a great point, but also when he's not having one of those games that you're describing, are you an impactful, positive, helpful player in those other 3 nights? And that, I think, is where the frustration comes from as far as the Warriors go. It's one thing if you go, okay, you got 23 tonight, nice, and we won. The next night you got 8, but you had 7 rebounds, you had 2 blocks and a steal, and you played nasty D. We'll take that over your 23-point night any day of the week.
And whenever I hear any of the things that you might criticize Steve Kerr for, I get it, because it's sports and he's in charge. He's the one out front. He's the face. He's got the word head in front of his name, coach. But it's always fascinating to me. We talk about it as if the decisions that are being made by one person. And they're not. There are levels to this. There are plenty of voices. By the way, Steph Curry is one of those voices.
So is Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy and all the rest of it.
And beyond, right. And so there are levels to responsibility, and then there are levels to the decisions that get made. And so this is not, by any stretch, this is not even close to something that is only Steve's opinion. Okay, so again, I want to remind everybody, just so you understand, this isn't as simple as would you take 7.9 for 1 year, or would you take 2 and 45 for 2 years, but the team gets control of that second year.
Janet Jackson.
This goes way, way deeper than that. And it goes way deeper than that for this reason. The qualifying offer represents what is, in effect, a no-trade clause. So it means that the Warriors cannot trade him without his permission during that year, and following that year, he would immediately become an unrestricted free agent. I know it may not sound like it, but within the industry, that's a nuclear option. That isn't just, I'd like to control my future, so I'll take $8 million. That's not that simple. Believe you me, along with taking that $8 million, it is akin to Jonathan riding into training camp on a motorcycle with both of his middle fingers up.
Oh, boy.
That's what it is. Now, conversely, the Warriors saying, we have cut off all sign and trade talks, and our final offer is 2 years, $45 million, and we will be in complete control of that second year. Whether we would like to keep you or not, that will be totally up to us. Is also arriving at training camp with your middle fingers up. That's where we sit, where both sides are currently flipping one another off and sitting there going, who's going to lower their fingers first? That's where we are. And all of these other players that the Warriors have supposedly already got on standby, Al Horford, DeAnthony Melton, etc., that all affects them and whether or not the Warriors can have them. I do not believe that this can get to October and have everybody just still staring at each other and question whether Jonathan would actually do that. Because even if he does, I then think he arrives There's tension. It's toxic. Everybody's mad. Season screwed.